Like it there. Yes, here is it.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Okay, some space, put this book. Take it a little that way. You can have it. Yesterday we read the original of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, and also Beloved Papa's commentary. Increase the volume. As the second chapter is the most important one in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we shall go through the meaning of each verse separately. The chapter begins with Arjuna's expression of feelings to Lord Krishna, how he became, it's not alright still, how he became, not volume, how he became completely unnerved after seeing his own masters, his own cousins, other relatives standing in front to be attacked and killed. He could not think of, or he could not imagine how he could do such an act. Now he expressed himself, he addressed Krishna, "O Krishna, I with arrows, how can I attack my beloved teacher Bhishma and Drona with arrows? They are really worthy of worship. Instead, how can I attack and kill them?" Arjuna knew very well, before he came to the battlefield, that he had to attack Arjuna. He had attacked Bhishma and Drona and other acharyas. But in spite of all that, his mood completely changed. He even went to the extent of saying, to eat the beggar's bread even is far better in this world than to slay these great soul masters. But if I kill them, my enjoyment of wealth and desires in this world itself will be stained with blood. So he almost feels that he should never engage in the war. He should never engage himself in the war. That is this is finally he tells Lord Krishna, I think you should read this instead of my straining like this. These capital deep types alone will do. Deep types. We can have that blank also.
Whether we should conquer them?
Yeah.
Whether we should, or they conquer us. I do not know which would be better. These very sons of Dhritarashtra stand before us, after slaying whom we should not care to live.
Next one.
My nature is weighed down with the taint of feeble-mindedness. My understanding is confused as to duty. I entreat you, say definitely what is good for me. I am your disciple. Do instruct me who have taken refuge in you.
There he says, first he says, I refuse to fight. Then he says, I am your disciple. Please tell me what is good for me. I shall obey your command. Next one.
I do not find any remedy to the grief that parches my senses. Though I were to gain unrivaled and prosperous monarchy on earth, or even sovereignty over the celestials.
He continues to say in the same time, if I win the war, I will. But I don't want all those things. I want to refrain from this war as far as possible. Next one.
After addressing the Lord of the senses thus, Udakasha, the terror of the foes, submitted to Govinda. I shall not fight, and held silence.
Then again he says, I shall not fight. Previously he said, I will do whatever you tell me. Tell me what is good for me. Now he says, I shall not fight. Now it is up to Lord Krishna to waking him up, to lift him from this mode of despondency. Now Krishna says next.
O Bharata, then smiling as it were, Rishikesha spoke these words to the desponding ones placed between two armies. You grieve for those who should not be grieved for, yet you spell words of wisdom. The wise grieve neither for the living nor for the dead.
Now Krishna, hearing this, was smiling, whereas Arjuna was in such a bad mood. Why Krishna should have been smiling? It is just like a mother hearing the complaints of her child. The child is sometimes very furious, very feeling very bad over certain things, complains to the mother. A mother knows, after all, this is all very minor things. by right understanding he can get over these things. But he makes this very serious. So he tries to make the child understand that it is not very serious. At the same time she knows it is not serious. So like that Krishna is going to tell him how to get over this mood. And he also knows that this is not a very serious thing himself. Next one. And he says, you talk like a wise man, but wise men do not grieve over those who are living or those who are dead. They know fully well that these things are transitory and they have no reason to grieve over such losses or gains. Now he proceeds further.
Nor I, nor you, nor any of these ruling princes was ever non-existent before, nor is it that we shall cease to be in the future.
You must know that you, me, or anybody else did not exist before or will not exist in future. We are eternal. Once you know this truth, you will be able to get over this mood.
As the indweller in the body experiences childhood, youth, and old age in the body, he also passes on to another body. The serene one is not affected thereby.
Our real self is residing in this body, and when this body is old or decayed, it drops itself, but the real self is not dead or is not changing anywhere. It only goes and takes another body. Those who know this truth will not grieve over the passing away of anybody.
The contacts of the senses with their objects create, O son of Kunti, feelings of heat and cold, of pain and pleasure. They come and go and are impermanent. Bear them patiently, O Bharata.
We feel happiness and misery, cold and heat and all that because our senses are coming in contact with the sense objects. These are purely external and have nothing to do with our real self.
That man, O the best of men, is fitted for immortality, whom these do not torment, who is balanced in pain and pleasure and steadfast.
That man who is a wise man, who has understood what the real self is, what his real nature is, will not be affected by this pain, pressure, etc. That is the pairs of opposites working in the nature. He knows that these feelings belong to the nature and have nothing to do with his real self.
The unreal has no existence. The real never ceases to be.
What is seen here, what is felt is all unreal. It has no existence. And what is real never ceases to be. It is eternal.
The truth about both has been realized by seers.
This truth has been realized by great sages and saints.
Know that to be verily indestructible, by which all this is pervaded. None can affect the destruction of the immutable.
That truth which is residing in all is indestructible.
These bodies of the indweller, who is eternal, indestructible, and immeasurable, are said to have an end. Fight therefore, O Bharata.
Please read it again.
These bodies of the indweller, who is eternal, indestructible, and immeasurable, are said to have an end. Fight therefore, O Bharata.
These bodies that you see, we consider them eternal, but they have an end. And you also know that the truth residing in these bodies is eternal. So there is no harm in your fight. In this here, fight does not really mean kill them or anything like that. The Bhagavad Gita is a scripture that encourages to lead an active life in this world, not merely sit in meditation and remain in communion with God, but maintain that attitude even in the midst of all your activities. So Arjuna is told by Krishna to understand the truth and be active. Do your normal duties, whatever they are. Do your duty, that's the main thing here, emphasize it. Here, fight means do your duty, whatever it is, but knowing the truth.
He who holds Atman as slayer, and he who considers it as the slain, both of them are ignorant. It slays not, nor is it slain.
He who thinks that the Atman is getting killed or is slain is ignorant. In that knowledge, we can understand that nobody is killed, nobody kills.
The Atman is neither born nor does it die.
Atman has no birth nor death, is eternal.
Coming into being and ceasing to be do not take place in it.
It does not get born or die, only the body is born and it has to end by death.
Unborn, eternal, constant, and ancient, it is not killed when the body is slain.
As Atman is eternal, is unborn, it is not killed when the body is killed. It survives the body. What is that?
Mine was not working.
Oh.
He who cognizes the Atman as indestructible, eternal, unborn, and changeless, how can he slay, O Partha, or cause another to slay?
How can he?
He who cognizes the Atman as indestructible, eternal, unborn, and changeless, how can he slay, O Partha, or cause another to slay?
Not very clear about it.
How can he slay?
Play.
Slay. Kill.
Oh, slay. How can he slay?
Why?
That's right.
Or cause another to kill.
How can one who knows the truth? One who knows the truth that the Atman cannot be slain. Atman is eternal. It has no birth or death. How can he say that he is going to kill somebody? Atman can never be killed or slain.
Swamiji, this teaching, if it falls in the hands of simpleton, can become very dangerous.
Now what I say is, I said in the beginning itself, this is all talking about highest attainment.
But some
Now,
people,
to lead a real happy and successful life, one has to abide in this self, know the self and abide in this self. He shows the highest position from where we can be really happy in the world. So we can only try to reach that stage. There are very few who have reached that stage and are living that life. Arjuna was completely, unnerved when he met his enemies, or when he met his own, relations as enemies, and was afraid to kill them. But Krishna had to find a way how to deal with the world without getting affected by what is happening. That is the important thing here. This is not easily practicable for everybody, but we have to try that there is such a state from where we can always remain happy in this world which is full of misery.
but Swamiji,
That is the purpose of the Gita.
what I'm saying is that some people, they read this and they say we can kill people. It doesn't matter because we are not the body, we are the soul.
All right, get that experience and do it.
Swamiji,
Get that experience that you are the self, and the self is not killed or born, and then you can.
but they have not reached that stage and they are doing it, Swamiji.
Of course, that danger is always there. We must be honest to ourselves. So this is only showing the way how to remain happy and what should be our understanding, what should be our realization, what we really are. Knowing all these things, we can remain perfectly happy and make the world a heaven. There will be no bitterness towards anybody. There will be only love and service towards everybody. So mutually we'll be loving and serving. That is the purpose of the Gita. Again, is talking about the condition of the Siddha Prajna, one who has attained the highest, who is established in the truth. That is after the attainment. Then only we can behave like that, deal with the people like that. So he shows what we should attain so that we can be happy always.
But simple people, when they read this, they say, well, we can kill people because they are not the body, they are the soul, they are eternal. It doesn't matter. It happened, Swamiji, some sect that started killing each other in America. The followers of Lord Krishna, they started killing each other. There was many murders. And because they say it doesn't matter, they are eternal.
We have to take it that nobody is killed, nobody killed. If we look at the world dispassionately, everything is all right. As you say, they may be feeling that they are not the body, they are the Atman, they are not killing or being killed. But we who are witnessing should also be able to take it that way. This Lord is playing this game. He neither kills nor gets killed. It is purely a play. The real self is not affected by all this. Anyway, these are guidelines for our right living, art of living, and art of finishing or cutting the cycle of birth and death. That is the most important thing here. By acting this way, we will not only be able to live happily, but we will also reach the supreme heights of God realization. Then,
As a man casting off worn out garments puts on new ones, so the embodied, casting off worn out bodies, enters into others that are new.
death is something considered terrible, fearful. But death is nothing but changing our torn clothes and putting on new ones. This refers to the body. But death or the body means the self in us discards this body because it has become old and it is ready to take another body. So death is nothing to be afraid of. The old body or the useless body is changed for a new body.
This Atman is said to be unmanifested, unthinkable, and immutable. Therefore, knowing it is as such, you should not grieve.
When we know that this Atman, that is our real self, is unthinkable, what are the attributes there? Unthinkable,
Unmanifested,
unmanifested.
and immutable.
It has no name or form. It is static. It is never affected by anything else. Knowing this, we should not grieve over whatever happens to the body.
Or, if you conceive of Atman as given to constant births and deaths, even then, O mighty arm, you should not sorrow.
Please read it again.
Or, if you conceive of Atman as given to constant births and deaths, even then, O mighty arm, you should not sorrow.
Even if you take the Atman subject to constant birth and death, why should you have to grieve? If it dies, it takes birth again. There's no reason to grieve over that. But
Death is certain of that which is born. Birth is certain of that which is dead.
anything that is born has to die. And anything that dies may have to take birth also. So there is no reason to grieve over it. That is the other alternative for him to think and not to grieve over it.
You should not, therefore, lament over the inevitable.
So there is no need for you to lament over what you are supposed to do and the results of what you are supposed to do.
Beings are all, O Bharata, unmanifested in their origin, manifested in their mid-state, and unmanifested again in the end.
What all things we see before us were not manifestation, were latent, were hidden before. We could not see the names and forms before. They came into existence for some time, and again after some time they disappear. They become unmanifest.
What is the point then for anguish?
Then why should you have to worry about it?
One beholds the self as wonderful. Another mentions of it as marvelous. Another again hears of it as strange. Though hearing, yet another knows it not at all.
About the Atman, they try to describe. One considers it wonderful, one considers it inscrutable, one puts another adjective to it. But nobody really knows what it is. And even if they have known what it is, they are not able to describe what it is, because he is beyond all words and expressions.
This, the indweller in the bodies of all, is ever invulnerable, O Bharata. Therefore you should not grieve for any being.
This is beginning.
This, the indweller, that is the Atma, in the bodies of all, is ever invulnerable.
This Atman cannot be attacked or killed, is invulnerable. So no need for you to grieve over it.
Again, looking at your own duty as well, you should not waver, for there is nothing more welcome to a Kshatriya than a righteous war.
Now, leaving away all the philosophy, as a warrior, come to fight in the war. Your duty is to engage yourself in the war and do your duty. That will bring you all glory. Otherwise it will bring you disgrace only.
Happy are the Kshatriyas, O Partha, who obtain such a warfare that comes unsought as an open gateway to heaven.
The Kshatriyas consider it as a great opportunity if a war arises and they have to take part in it, because if they die, they go to heaven straight away.
But if you will not wage this righteous warfare, then forfeiting your own duty and honor, you will incur sin.
If you, therefore, don't engage yourself in this war, you will be actually sinning against your own duty. You will be disgraced.
People will ever recount your infamy. To the honored, infamy is surely worse than death.
It will be a great blame, infamy on your part, not to take part in this war, but to retreat.
The great chariot warriors will view you as one fled from the war out of fear.
All those great ones will despise you, bring you bad name, and even insult you in the public.
You that were highly esteemed by them will be held lightly.
You?
You who were highly esteemed by them will be lightly held.
You are now in their high esteem. You will lose all those.
Your enemies will also slander your strength and speak many unseemly words. What could be more painful than that?
See, that's enough. Go forward.
Slain, you will gain heaven. Victorious, you will enjoy earth.
That is the thing. If you are defeated or if you are killed, you will go to heaven. If you are victorious, you will be monarch of the country.
Therefore, rouse up, O son of Kunti, resolve to fight.
Now, persuading him to give up his moha, Krishna asks him to wake up, rise up and fight the war.
Treating alike pain and pleasure, gain and loss, victory and defeat. Engage yourself in the battle. Thus you will incur no sin.
When you are abiding in the self, you consider the pairs of opposites, that is victory and defeat, loss and gain, cold and heat, all these are same to you. You will not be affected by any of these because these belong to the manifestation, not to the Atman.
The ideal of self-knowledge has been presented to you. Hearken now to the practice thereof. Endowed with it, O Partha, you will break through the bonds of karma.
Please read that again.
The ideal of self-knowledge has been presented to you. Hearken now to the practice thereof. Endowed with it, O Partha, you will break through the bonds of karma.
Now, Krishna has explained to him self-knowledge, and he is asking Arjuna to understand this and fight the war, and he will be free from the bonds of karma if he knows this knowledge, as he has already known this knowledge.
In this there is no loss of attempt, nor is there any adverse effect. The practice of even a little of this Dharma protects one from great fear. To the firm in mind, O joy of the Gurus, there is in this but one decision. Many branching and endless are the decisions of the infirm in mind.
Can go further.
The unwise who delight in flowery words, disputing about the Vedas, say that there is nothing other than this.
Those who have no self-knowledge consider that what we see before us is the only thing that exists and there is nothing beyond this.
Who are desire-ridden, who hold the attainment of heaven as the goal of birth and its activities, whose words are laden with specific rights, bringing in pleasure and lordship.
Not able to hear properly yet. Please read it again.
Who are desire-ridden, who hold the attainment of heaven as the goal of birth and its activities.
Then?
Whose words are laden with specific rights, bringing in pleasure and lordship. There is no fixity of mind for them who cling to pleasure and power, and whose discrimination is stolen away.
Please bring that book. Switch out that light. There is no fixity of mind for them who cling to pleasure and power and whose discrimination is stolen away. Those who are after pleasure and power lose their discrimination. Their The Vedas enumerate the three gunas. You transcend the three gunas, be free from the pains of pairs of opposites, ever balanced, unconcerned, getting and keeping and centered in the self. These three gunas are playing the game in this creation, and they are responsible for make us feeling the pairs of opposites. Now you have to transcend these three gunas and abide in the self. By that we become free from the pairs of opposites. We will be ever balanced, unconcerned with what is going on by abiding ourselves in this self. To an enlightened Brahmana, all the Vedas are as useful as a tank when there is a flood everywhere. Now, this knowledge is necessary only for those who are still groping in darkness. But these teachings are not really necessary for those who are already wise. The example is given. Is there any necessity for a small pond when we are near a huge lake? Huge lake is the wisdom. They already gained that wisdom. So there is no need for any further teaching. The teachings are required only for the ignorant ones. So, seek to perform your duty, but lay not claim in the fruits. Be you not the producer of the fruits of karma, neither shall you lean towards inaction. Now, having learned all this, he is advised to act at the same time feeling that he is not acting. You have to perform your duties. The real secret of performing the duty and not getting affected by it is to give up the sense of doership. Do not, and before that what you have to do is you simply do your duty and dedicate what you have done to God and say that the fruit belongs to you. I have the duty only to perform the actions, and the fruits are yours. By that way, you will be doing selfless act. That will lead you to the feeling that the Lord Himself is the doer, and though the duty itself will not bind you. Perform action, being fixed in yoga, renouncing attachments, and even-minded in success and failure. Equilibrium is verily yoga. When we are abiding in the self, when we identify ourselves with the self, we know that all that is seen outside belongs to the nature, belongs to the Prakriti, and whatever the Prakriti does not affect the Atman, our true self. Though the Prakriti as it is powerless, but is activated by the self only. Even though the self activates the Prakriti, the self is not affected by whatever happens in the Prakriti. Knowing this, you act. Then you will be even-minded and you will not worry about success or failure. You will be maintain equilibrium in all conditions and circumstances. Then Arjuna's question arises. He was asked to abide in this self and act. So Arjuna wanted to know what are the signs of that person who is able to abide in the self and act in the world without getting affected by them. And Krishna says, when a man abandons all the desires of the heart and is satisfied in the self by the self, then he is said to be one stable in wisdom. That is first qualification for one who is established in wisdom. He is absolutely desireless. He is satisfied with whatever he gets in the world. He has absolutely no demand. The question may arise, why all these points may be raised in the advice to Lord Krishna in the battlefield. Again, we should not forget that it is not merely for Arjuna that this was given, but it is for everybody in the world who is facing the battle every day and every moment. The Lord makes it clear that only by giving up our desires and our ambitions we can remain happy and be free from the effects of karma. He whose mind is not perturbed by adversity, does not crave for happiness, who is free from fondness, fear and anger, is the Muni of constant wisdom. Now when we are established in this self, we will not be perturbed, will not be disturbed by whatever happens outside. Anything may go on outside. We know that is only a play of the gunas, and that really does not affect us. We will remain unperturbed. We do not crave for happiness. We do not love anybody excessively. We may love others knowing that they are all manifestations of God, but no excessive love is given to anybody. That is, excessive fondness is extended to anybody. We won't be afraid of any situation. We will be free from anger, because there is no reason to get angry at all. Anger comes only when there is another. In our case, when we have identified with the entire creation, there is no question of another. We are seeing ourselves, we are dealing with ourselves. So there is no chance for anger. Such a person is said to be established in wisdom. So our effort must be to experience that self and get established in that self. When also like a tortoise, its limbs, he can withdraw the senses from the sense objects. His wisdom is then set free. A man who is moving in the world has to mix with many people, has to deal with many sense objects. The objects may be there, but his senses should not be attracted by those objects. He should have such control over it that the senses are not attracted by the sense objects, however enjoyable they may appear to be. This is possible only when we have experienced the bliss of the Atman and we are in constant communion with the Atman. When we are experiencing the most blissful Atman ourselves, what is the need for us to experience something lower than that? The sense enjoyments in the world are nothing compared to the bliss of the Atman. It is just like asking somebody, I kept a glass of Ganges water and another gutter water. What will you take? Would you have to ask him? Like that. Once we have seen that there is Ganges water, that is the bliss of the Atman, and the so-called enjoyments of the senses, we know the difference, and we will never prefer or seek the enjoyment of the senses. We will consider them as absolutely worthless. Those who have not enjoyed or experienced the bliss of the Atman will alone run after the sense enjoyments in the world. And once this experience is there, we can move in the world freely, and when the sense objects are there, the senses will be automatically withdrawn like a tortoise withdrawing its limbs into the shell. Like a tortoise in its limbs, he can withdraw the senses from the sense objects without being drawn by them. That is the beauty of saints moving among sense objects without getting at all affected by them. Now these sense objects drop out for the abstinent man, though not the longing for them. His longing also ceases when he intuits the Supreme. Now there is a stage when one tries to control himself, control his senses, withdraws them from the sense objects by effort. This is successful to a certain extent, but he is not completely free from the attraction of the objects to the senses. But there may be a little lingering desire in the mind to enjoy the objects of the senses. But further sadhana will give him the full sweetness of the communion with the Atman. That will take away the desire completely for the enjoyment of the sense objects. So till the Atman is experienced, one is likely to fall down and try to enjoy the sense objects, even though he has been trying to lift himself up and be free from such pulls of the lower nature. Only after getting established in the self, he can be said to be completely free. Afterwards, his longing also ceases when he is ever abiding in the Atman. A man is striving for perfection. He controls himself in a very possible way and meditates on the self. Till he is established in the self, there is every chance of his being pulled down, because the senses create lot of excitement. The excited senses carry away the mind and pull him down. So the sadhakas have to be very, very careful not to even go near the sense objects, lest they be attracted by them. Many people say, "Oh, I can control my senses," and try to move among the sense objects freely. But unawares they are caught and they succumb to their desire to enjoy them. Say somebody, simple thing, taste of this sense of taste. Somebody likes many sweets and other things. He says, "Oh, I have controlled all those things." But when he sees before him good sweets that he liked very much, he is likely to succumb. He likes to take one. After all, taking one does not matter. Like that, he may succumb to such desires. Like that, all other objects are also likely to draw him down if he is not very careful, until he is established in himself. After he is established in himself, there is no harm in enjoying the sense objects by the senses, because after that he knows that his senses and the sense objects are all the same. It's all one. That is a very high experience. After that, there is no harm in their engaging themselves in the enjoyment of the senses. That is for those who are abiding in the self. If they want, they can withdraw without any difficulty. If they want to enjoy, they can do so with full freedom. If one's sadhana is slack, if his meditation is not proper, naturally his mind is drawn towards the lower nature. So he starts thinking often of the sense objects, various objects. You want to see good things, you want to hear good things, you want to eat sweets, and so on and so forth. And when he constantly thinks of those things, man develops attachment to them. That constant thinking brings them deep attachment. From attachment comes desire. Constant thinking brings attachment, and attachment brings desire. And from desire, anger sprouts out. From desire to enjoy certain things. And if that desire is not fulfilled, it results in anger. Whoever stands in the way will be the target of anger. So we should never allow the mind to dwell on sense objects, because that will lead to attachment to those objects, that attachment will lead to desire them, and that desire will bring anger if we are not satisfied. Then from anger proceeds delusion. If we get angry because we are not permitted or we are not able to fulfill our desire to enjoy the sense objects, naturally our mind gets completely deluded. Though there is nobody against whom we can show our anger, the anger will be in our mind, and our mind will be completely deluded. We cannot make right decisions. And from delusion, confused memory. And from confused memory, the ruin of reason. When the memory is confused, we cannot reason properly. And due to the ruin of reason, the man perishes. So the simple thing, a thought of the sense object will lead us to the stage of complete ruin. So you can imagine how subtle it is. We may be having so many thoughts. As soon as the thought of the enjoyment of it, we must be able to remove them by praying to God, "Oh Lord, don't give me such desires of these sense objects. Let me be completely free from all those things." If we allow the mind to be carried away by the thought of sense objects, we will be attached to them, we will be desiring them, we don't get the desire fulfilled, we will be angry, and that will lead to our ruin finally. So a sadhaka who is trying to advance on the spiritual path can also, if he is not very careful, fall down miserably. Then, coming to the positive side, but the disciplined yogi, moving among objects with his sense under control and free from attraction and aversion, gains tranquility. But a yogi who is disciplined, moving among objects, completely keeping his mind under control, he is able to move among objects with the senses completely under control and free from attraction, because the mind is under, senses are control, he is free from all attractions. He neither is attracted by them or he is averse to them. He is indifferent to them actually. He gains tranquility. One who is not established himself, who is only in the process of controlling his mind, but not yet completely successful in controlling the mind, may move about among the sense objects with great care. When he sees any sense object, he may be attracted, but by effort he may withdraw his mind from that. And when he is not attracted by that, and at the same time he should not have any aversion also for it. He must be indifferent to it. Then only he can be said to be under perfect control. And when one is completely tranquil, that is when his mind is under full control, senses are under full control, all his sorrow is completely destroyed. He has no more sorrow in his world. He is ever happy and blissful. Because the intellect of the tranquil-minded is soon anchored in equilibrium. When he enjoys equilibrium, he enjoys the most coveted peace and happiness in this world. So, complete control over the senses is what is required to move freely in the world and be free from all attractions and aversions. Stop here today. Om Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Om Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. There's a piece of paper. Radio.
Acabou de